Hi guys, and welcome to my first disc dyeing video on this channel. Today I'll be dyeing a Neutron glitch. I've dyed a few white glitches before, but this is the first time I've used this overhead camera rig and GoPro to try and sort of film the process. So this is a glue dye. I've done mostly glue dyes since I started dyeing a couple of months ago. But yeah, I'm still learning the process. This is the first time using this blowtorch because a couple of my more recent dyes have had some air bubbles in them, so just wanted to try and minimize that. So yeah, this type of dye I'm going for is, I've done it once before. It's sort of like a ice fire dye where you have one side blue, one side black, and separating the sides with this, sorry, one side blue, one side red, and separating the sides with this black through the center. I've done it once before and it came out pretty good, so I'm giving it another go with this type of setup. So obviously I've started off with the black in the center here, and I'm just using a straw to try and make the line a bit sort of, obviously it's quite thick at the moment, so I just want it to be a bit thinner. You can see here that it does get a little bit tricky, especially using a straw. I probably need a better implement for actually getting a bit more stronger airflow to push this dye in. But yeah, the issue with doing it like this, you can see that the dye is spread out quite a bit already, and I'm also trying to get around the disc here without getting in the way of the camera. So yeah, just trying to get used to this setup. And also just try and get the dye condensed before it spreads too much. But as you can see, it's spreading a lot faster than I really want it to, so yeah, I'm struggling a bit. You can see here it does work in shaping the dye, but yeah, it was a little trickier. Now you can see I've got out my record player here, which I've actually bought to do some spin dyeing on, because I thought, oh, this would make it a lot easier just to be able to manipulate the disc so that I could get it, get to all sides of the dye to sort of condense it. But again, it took me so long to set up the record player, get everything leveled, that the dyes continued to spread out. So, but I wanted to continue on. I could have just stopped, but I thought this would be a good fix. So just adding some more glue here, and this is a pretty good sort of technique. When the dye does sort of run away on you like this, you can just add more glue and it'll just disperse the dye out a little bit. So you can see in this overhead shot here, as I add the glue, it just pushes it in. So I'm finally a bit happier with it now. It means I've got a little bit more room to work with to put some color down. So yeah, I'll just do a quick last shape here before I end up putting the color down. Yeah, you can see the record player is obviously making it a lot easier, so I'll just remember that for next time. So it looks like I'm starting with the color here. I was starting with the blue. So this will be the ice side, and this is like this is a turquoise blue. It's a PCAD, so pro-chemical dye. I've only just recently started using this. A lot of my other dyes are done with iodide poly, but they don't have, obviously there's a lot of colors that they do have, but quite a few that they don't, so I got a few pro-chemical dyes just to mix it up. So here's just the standard iodide blue, I believe. Just adding a bit more turquoise, it looks like here. You can see it's quite a light dye, so it tends to get overwhelmed by the darker blue and obviously the black that's right next to it. So do have a couple of purples here. There's a, can't remember exactly the names of these colors, I forget, I'd have to check. It might have been violet and not lavender, but there's a couple of purples here. last time I did this type of dye I didn't really use any purple, I just used blue. So yeah, I was trying to make it sort of blend into purple here, just to give that a little bit more depth, a little bit more texture, and almost look a little space-like. Starting on the yellow side, or the yellow, orange, red side here. Again, this yellow that I'm adding is really, really light, and you can see that because the black has still been spreading out as we've been dyeing the blue side, the yellow is mixing with the black, which is not the worst thing in the world. I mean, at the end of the day, even though it might feel like a mistake, sometimes things can turn out looking really cool. But yeah, obviously we're going to get a lot of, you can see already, a lot of black run through on the orange and red side. Again, that red is quite dark, so it's going to really, I found that it really overtakes the orange and yellow. So here I'm trying to give the dye a little bit of texture when the colours sort of mix together, and also push the red side a bit further across. This is working in that it is, now that it has dye pushing up against both sides, it's a lot easier to shape the black. So you can see now that it's actually getting quite a lot thinner, rather than before where it was just sort of moving the black around rather than actually changing it. Probably what I should have done here is just lifted the disc up and tipped it just to get the whole bed moving towards the blue side, because you can see there's not a lot of space I have to work with on the red side. Yeah, here, now that I've sort of got the shape of the black line, we're just going back through the coloured sides to try and mix the dye a little bit. I like to use a combination of both, using the straw to sort of mix the dye as well as a toothpick. Obviously a straw makes it look sort of more wavy and a bit more like fluid, whereas using a toothpick you get those really sort of sharp transitions between colour. Something I realised whilst doing this dye was that, especially on camera, I mean it's okay when you're sitting right close to the dye, seeing the different colours, but obviously using a blue disc, which was only like, I think these were $1, these cheap discs, just to use as a glue bed. But yeah, it is obviously very difficult to see some of the colours, especially on the darker sides with the reds and the oranges and the yellows. It's very difficult to see. So for my future dyes, I ended up buying a white frisbee, just so it's a little bit easier to see, both for me and on camera. But yeah, just using the blowtorch again to try and pop some of those bubbles. Blowtorch isn't too bad. It wasn't too expensive. The only annoying thing is it does sort of vary in sort of flow rate, so you sort of get it more and less aggressive. And you see here I'm just laying the disc down from one side to the other, so you can sort of see the line of glue move across. So here's the disc after taking it out of the glue and cleaning it off. Really excited with how this one turned out. I've got some really nice saturation of the colours. A little bit more purple than I expected, but it looks kind of like a snowy mountain with the black and white there in the center, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for other disc dyeing videos. Peace.